reading, writing, and arithmetic. Essential to a child's education, right? Well, that's what conventional wisdom has taught us, but there's another school of thought here in Hollywood. Hey everybody, I'm Angela Baki, and this is Celebrity Soapbox. Today we'll hear from a handful of Hollywood celebs who feel that the classroom is the ideal place for children to discover their inner artist. The problem is that state funds are tight, and when it comes to budget cutbacks, the fine arts program is usually the first to go. So a few well-known creative types get together for the annual PS Arts fundraising event here in Hollywood to help prevent school from being a completely cerebral event for children.
I've been involved in PS Arts for about 4 or 5 years now, and I just love this event. The idea of raising money to bring art, to bring dance and art and drama and music into elementary and junior high schools that otherwise wouldn't have it is just a very special thing, because without art education I wouldn't be where I am, so it's a great way to give back.
Well, I can tell you one of the main reasons. My father was a public educator for 40 years, and one of the first items that were cut out of the budget was arts education. Back when they started cutting the budgets in like the 70s and through the 80s, arts education became decimated in the public education system because the tax cutters looked at it as sort of like an elitist item, as if they were equating going to like the American Ballet Theater with kids getting an arts education. And now we've learned from that, 15, 20 years later, we've learned all of the benefits of how education, how arts, promoting the arts and being stimulated by the arts, how it affects the brain, how it affects behavior, how it affects socialization, how it affects math and science scores. So obviously we're looking for children to have a very well-rounded, diverse, sort of eclectic education, and hopefully we'll get, in the public schools, we'll get the arts funding in that department fully restored, because it's just as important as Spanish or history or mathematics. Just as important as any of it.
I love PS Arts. I love supporting PS Arts. It makes you feel like you can try to, help everybody do something good. If the states can't afford to support the arts in the schools because they have other things to worry about, then we can try to step in and help. And it's really important. It was really important to me as a child. All I did was the arts. Didn't really like the rest of school at all. So I'm happy to be part of something where you're helping make sure that kids get a well-rounded life.
I'm a supporter of the arts. I want my baby to have all the arts in his schools, and I just think it's a good idea. I did a lot of singing, and most of my art actually was at home when I was pretending to be sick. I did a lot of drawing, but I had a lot of fun, like making candles and stuff in summer camps. It works a part of the brain that math and all the boring stuff, the other stuff doesn't work. It's important to work the whole brain, the creative and the analytical sides.
Funny man Jack Black isn't the only one who makes a direct correlation between his creative childhood inclinations and his current career choice.
I probably would be even more annoying if I hadn't had some sort of artistic outlet in public school. So this is a pretty no-brainer as far as whether you're going to show up or not. This is a great cause, and it's a shame that we have to do this. That it's not just sort of something that is always in public schools, but we're addressing that here.
Art education is what it's all about. I'm an actor. Without drama class, I wouldn't have the opportunity to know that I loved acting and eventually get into it as a career. So right there, it's I'm a perfect example.
I just had, just general arts class. I also was in, I wasn't in the band, but I took musical instruction, and I tried to play the drums when I was like 8 years old or something. But I enjoyed it. My family was sort of naturally gravitated more towards humanities and civics and public service than they did towards the arts, which is ironic because when we all became older, we wound up becoming actors. I think it's because of the screaming egos and dysfunctional egos that led us to show business, all the attention,
Even if a child doesn't end up in show business like Jason Bateman and Rick Schroeder both did at a very young age, starring on Rick's hit sitcom Silver Spoons, they say art serves a higher purpose, self-discovery of the truest form.
Kids need some sort of an outlet aside from recess and lunch, and you can figure out a lot about yourself when you're given some things to play with, like paints and crayons and music and just sort of self-expression. It's at a time where you're trying to figure out who you are school is, and so arts really help do that.
There's probably some really good, talented artists that are hidden deep down inside some of these kids, and it doesn't get a chance to like come out unless it's fostered and developed and nurtured. So hopefully, this will keep that alive.
We'll close this edition of Celebrity Soapbox with a few hard-hitting words from one of Hollywood's biggest advocates for children's education, Bill Cosby. He did the quick math and found that being negligent of the school system is equal to being negligent to children. It just doesn't add up.
If people had sense with public education, see, you don't need money. When people say we have no funds, they're lying, because if you take a child, public school kid, it's 8,000 or whatever, 8 million, whatever, and then you turn around and you say, what does it cost to incarcerate? Okay, 60,000 per kid. So if you do it correctly, you could probably save $24,000 to $30,000 per child if you educated the children properly. So that alone should have people who are really interested in saving the children. What drives me is, if anybody, if you ever see a kid, I mean, who, other than somebody who's got a mental health problem, would want to see it damaged?